Hello, everyone. We are back at it again at Hope Hill Center, back with another podcast. I am here with our guest, which is Gerbrandt. Thank you for coming, my brother.
Sharp, what's up, BK?
100%. I'm good, my brother. Yeah, we are here with him. You know, he's very famous in our podcast. He has a lot of knowledge to share. A lot of insights. I always take perspective from this brew right here. So yeah, today we are gonna be discussing about sponsorship. Into recovery. And people that we're going to be having to reach out to and all that kind of stuff. But we'll get into that. So we are here to talk about sponsors and stuff like that, right? I think my first question for you is, what is the importance of having a sponsor in your life?
Uh, BK. The importance of a sponsorship it goes with the five pillars. It's one of the five pillars. And without these pillars, we have nothing to uphold the structure of our program. You know, and a sponsor is quite essential to what we do in recovery. I can trace it back. The first time I picked up, the reason I picked up was because I wanted to be seen. In an essence, I wanted someone to be there for me. And that's all I wanted. I didn't find it, so I took to drugs and alcohol. And entering recovery, I was still lost. I was still looking for that someone that will be there for me through thick and thin, someone I can talk to, someone to just be there when I'm down and out or even happy. And that is the importance of a sponsor in this program. When I am at my lowest, I can know that there's someone out there who wants to help me in my recovery. When I am at my happiest, I can know that there's someone out there who wants to help me in my recovery. It's a thing that even in the highest of moments and even in the lowest of moments, I knew intuitively that there is someone out there who can help me in my recovery. Because at the end of the day, a sponsor is someone who has actively worked the 12 steps. It is someone who has been through life on life terms for quite a period of time. Usually it's a year or more, and who has faced the challenges that early recovery will present. And obviously it is someone who made it through those challenges. So if I enter these rooms and I go through these things, it is someone who can guide me and give me suggestions on how to go about life. Because at the end of the day, I have no clue how to go about life sober.
100%.
You know.
100%. 100%. So tell me, how is life without a sponsor?
Yes, I can.
That's just to give them, a little bit of insight that not
Yeah.
having a sponsor and
Yeah.
wanting to come into recovery and being clean. How is life going to be without one?
I can actually from personal experience tell you how life in recovery is without a sponsor. So I went about a year and 6 months working the program, did my 12 steps, achieved a year and 6 months clean time, finished my 12 step, and me being me, had it all figured out. I put the pen down and I put the program in my back pocket with the pillar of sponsor. Put it in my back pocket. And for around 5 months, when life on life terms happens, it was difficult, But it reached a point where I feared judgment and I feared being shunned away by my sponsor at that time. I was scared to open up to tell him, I'm sorry I haven't been reaching out, I'm sorry I haven't been working my program. I'm sorry I haven't been doing the steps because I have this fear of judgment. And that was the most difficult 5 months of my recovery. I had no one to talk to when I was sad. I had no one to talk to when I was angry. I had no one to talk to when I just wanted to talk because of my fear. And it's miserable, it's lonely. And it feels a certain amount of still being trapped in this active addiction, you know? And so intuitively, in a sense, I can say that not having a sponsor in recovery sucks. But I can also say that a sponsor is fundamental towards my recovery because I don't have to be alone unless I choose to. And those 5 months showed me that I chose to be alone. And I was bloody lonely. I was lonely.
100%. Yeah, that's some great insight with that. So my other question is, right? How is life? I think this is gonna be easy. How is life with a sponsor? Actually?
Yes, it's amazing. I
Mm,
love it. Um, I love the fact that if I pick up the phone right now whilst we are talking here, I know intuitively this bro is gonna answer the phone.
mm,
He's gonna say, "Hey, Gerbrandt, what's up?" If I'm in a difficult situation, I know for a fact this man is going to give me the best advice that I need to hear. It might not be always be the things that I want to hear, but it will be the things that I need to hear,
mm,
whether it's good, bad, sad, or whatever, you know. And knowing that I can reach out to someone who's going to answer the phone and not tell me that, oh, get over it,
mm,
is rewarding. I love the fact that today in my life, if I pick up the phone and I call this person, he's going to give me the best advice I need first and foremost. And most of the time, the reason I pick up the phone is I just want to talk to someone,
mm.
and this guy's going to answer. I know this for a fact.
100%, and that's also what I want to get into. Like, I want you to like let me know like how is the relationship with your sponsor? You know, as a sponsee to your sponsor, like
Yeah,
how is that relationship?
yeah. Well, um, it is wonderful. It is loving.
Mm,
The things I get from my sponsor, in all honesty, is nothing that I got from anybody
mm,
during my life.
100%.
I never got the things I'm getting from my sponsor. And no actual advice, you know no direction on how to go about life.
Mm,
I think being able to be honest with someone to a point where you almost believe if you tell him this, they might relapse, is kind of scary.
100%.
But being able to trust someone so much to tell him about my deepest, darkest secret and know for a fact that this man won't go around telling each and everybody about my situation is a wonderful feeling. Being able to trust someone so much. Because I never had that.
Mm, mm,
Usually, if I shared a story, 2 minutes, 3 minutes later, my whole entire family would know. You know, with this person, I share things that actually keep me trapped in my mind for possibilities to pick up.
mm,
And being able to let go of these secrets, because as we know, secrets keeps us sick, is fundamentally important to me because I need to let go of them. I
100%.
need someone that I trust enough to say, you know what, this is what I did in my active addiction, and I'm comfortable enough to, if I need to, I cry, if I need to, I scream, if I
Mm,
need to, I get angry, but I ensure that I let go of these things that keeps me sick,
mm, mm,
and a certain amount of trust is necessary for that.
mm,
And I can promise you this, I have that trust when it comes to my sponsor.
mm,
I
mm,
can't speak for everybody,
mm.
but I can speak for myself.
Yeah, hundred
You know?
percent, 100%. Because we're not perfect, so like even when our sponsors, tell us to do certain things, sometimes I think it's a bit hard to do them, but you have to do them,
Yeah.
and like sometimes you have to like think about picking up that phone sometimes, because some days are different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You're like, I know he's gonna tell me the truth. I know he's gonna tell me what I don't want to hear, but I need to hear it.
Yeah, I just need to hear it. That's it.
And in perspective, that's also what I wanted to dive into. Like how he can put it in perspective into some of the suggestions that your sponsor wants you to do, but
Mm?
the typical addict, um, struggles, but manages to do. But like in that process, I want you to put in perspective how it is with your sponsor.
To do certain things.
Yeah, to do the following of suggestions and all that.
Um, let me use where I'm at right now as an example. I am um, actively working on my step 4 for the second time. It's a Well, I hate step 4. I hate step 4. I was super excited to get to step 4 again because I knew there were certain things that I missed my first round. So I was quite excited to do it on the second round. But the moment I started making my list, shit.
Okay.
missed this. They don't want to look at that. And my sponsor guides me and gives me suggestions on reasons why we need to look at these resentments, reasons why we need to look at these fears. And with that guidance, I can take that, and even when I'm really not wanting to do it, I put the effort in and say, okay, you know what, this guy is still sober and clean. This is what he did. Let me try. I take that suggestion and I go and I try and I look at the things. And more often than not, especially on step 4, I get a certain amount of guilt and shame. But in that process, because I take suggestions from him to work the step, to do the list, and I do the list, this guilt and shame kind of leaves me. In that process, it leaves me. And there was another process when I started my step work again. I did obviously you start at step 1, and I started at step 1 and I wrote like half a book, and my sponsor was like, yes, this looks. I'm going to use my own words, but let's say he told me this looks kind of shitty, but because he has to say it, because I don't look at the full picture.
Yeah.
And he guided me to say, let's take a different approach, and let's look at your young life. Let's look at your active addiction, and let's look at your recovery now. And by being able to look at it in that sense, I started realizing that my powerlessness isn't just the physical picking up of drugs and alcohol. I have powerlessness sometimes over my anger. I have powerlessness over my own child that I need to accept. I have the ability to make my own life unmanageable by not accepting this powerlessness. So being able to look at a perspective from a very young age up until even entering recovery, I had the ability to change a lot of things when it came to the second round of my work. And that change has benefited, where I can see clear growth, where it has benefited my life, is in my household with my wife and my son. It's a whole different dynamic. And it's just taking one suggestion. It's like, Gerbrandt, let's take a look at, rather than taking a look at it from the left, because that's not working, let's take a look at it from the right.
Yeah.
And it changes my life.
It's like a new set of glasses.
Yeah. Because sometimes what I like to do is when I see a scenario and it doesn't sit well with me, I like to look the other way sometimes.
Yeah, you don't want to
It's
look
easier.
at it in those angles, like, okay, how can I
Yeah.
try and do this and that?
Yeah, and my mind says, Gerbrandt, you need to look right. But I'm like, I don't want to. I really don't want to.
Yeah.
And with this guidance of my sponsor, in a way, he doesn't force me, but he puts it in a way that I can see, like, okay, you know what? This Bruce sees something that I don't, because I don't always see it. Let me check it out.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I haven't picked up yet. So I don't think there's a problem with getting a new perspective from someone else,
Yeah, 100%. Because I can relate to that, because I find myself, when I'm dealing with life on life terms, right? And then probably like late nights, I'll be calling my sponsor at like 1:00, right? And I'll be shouting and I'll be telling him my problems and all this. And he'll just be quiet, right? And the first thing he just says is, "Are you done? Okay, now let's focus on the solutions now." And as much as I would want to focus on the solutions, just that sometimes we feel comfortable in the problem. Sometimes we like facing that problem and sitting with it.
Yeah.
We kind of get allergic to the solutions, because the solutions, we might not like them sometimes.
We don't. No, we don't.
And then when you start saying those solutions, it's like,
I don't want to take this step.
yeah, I don't want to do that. But or like when I was complaining about having a lot of things in my life doing, and you know what he did? He just gave me more stuff to do.
That's fun.
It's like but they see it from another angle, like you say. They see it in a different perspective. Plus, they have more experience. They've been through that road. They have a lot of wisdom and knowledge when it comes to
We as
certain
sponsors, we tend to make it a lot bigger than it actually
things.
is.
100%. Yeah. So yeah, gratitude for sponsors is actually a big thing. Um, and also like I wanted you to like tell them like or for anyone out there basically that would might need a sponsor. What could be the best advice you could give someone out there that might be in need of a sponsor?
The best advice that I can say to newcomers, first and foremost, use the tools. If you apply yourself to the program, another pillar with the sponsor is going to meetings. And don't be afraid to say, what, I'm early in recovery, and I would really like someone to help me. Because at the end of the day, that is what we need. We need help. I can't go about this program alone. It's never going to work. It's never going to work. I always, in the work I do today, I like to trace it back that how can I complete my 12 steps alone? I'm going to miss step 5.
Yeah.
Step 5, we share with ourselves, with another human being, and with God the exact nations of our wrongs. I can work the 12 steps alone, but I will never be able to do step 5. So I'll never be able to complete my program alone.
100%.
And the therapeutic value of a sponsor, as Bill W described it, he said there is great therapeutic value in one addict helping another addict. You know, they understand. The experience they have isn't what they read on Google or in a psychology book or stuff like that. They have this personal, deep experience on active addiction and obviously recovery. you know but don't be afraid. Put yourself out there, go to meetings, tell them, I'm looking for someone to help me. Is someone willing to sponsor? Go to conventions, put yourself out there. Is there someone willing to sponsor? Cry out, work as hard as you can for your recovery as what you did to find that bottle or find that bag, and you'll be all right.
100%. Because also, yeah, like you said, actually thought about the relatable parts of what you said about when you see a sponsor as like someone that is easy that you can relate to. Is a few years ago, I was so broken to a point where I couldn't see anything good with addicts. Let me be honest. I
No,
couldn't
I
see
hear you.
anything good with addicts. I was like, addicts are just addicts. We're just gonna die as addicts.
Yeah, we're good for nothing.
100%. And then I saw this brew, like like he was like 6 years clean at that time. And when I heard him say his story, I could not put the difference between the story that he has and what I'm seeing. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, how
You
can
know,
this guy be here?
yeah, okay, this guy with what he said and how he's living right now, there were two different people. And at that point, that's when I was like, that was hope already for me that, this brew just said my story, but his was 10 times worse. Also to say, and I'm like, what the fuck is my excuse?
And he got clean.
Yeah, and I'm like, what the hell is my excuse? And I just, did the basics and followed suggestions, like you said, followed suggestions, and having someone that is so relatable, and that's the thing, someone that is so relatable knows that they can't lie to you. They can so much relate to what you're saying. They've been there before, and them lying to you, they would know that it would not serve you any good.
It's not going to benefit me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just the same as to them. They sponsor did the same thing, and
Yeah.
then they sponsors. So it's, yeah, like you said, it's very very important to have a sponsor, honestly. Um, but yeah, thank you for giving your knowledge and perspective like you always do.
Thanks, BK.
I think the importance of this is to let everyone know that you're not alone unless you choose to, like he said. Those are the biggest words that I ever heard when I came into recovery. And if you want hope, you see hope. This is hope. We're not just saying this out of a book or a scripture. We're talking about our lives, yeah.
Yeah.
Our own personal experiences. This is not something that someone gave us to read and talk about. This is life experiences. We've lived it, and we are still living.
Yeah, recovery is possible.
The recovery is possible. And what advice could you give to everyone out there listening right now?
What advice?
100%.
If you honestly and truly have the desire to stop using, don't wait. Don't wait. There's a lot of people who don't make it into these rooms. I, honestly speaking, was fortunate to have made it here. It is only by the grace of God that I was able to enter the rooms of recovery. Don't wait. Reach out, ask for help, talk to a friend, talk to a partner, talk to a parent. Just ask for help and take that first step. The scariest step is the one where the one that's most rewarding at the end of the day.
100%. That even touched me. And I can still use it till today, actually. With a few years clean, I can still use that advice.
Yeah.
Never give up, always try harder, As long as, like he said, as long as you're still alive, as long as you're still breathing, you still have time. You have a chance to rewrite your story. It doesn't have to be the way it is right now. You have a chance. You have a choice,
Yeah.
So make that decision. Make that decision. And yeah, this will be the end of our podcast. I mean, thank you,
Okay.
Gerbrandt, again, my
Thanks,
brother.
thanks,
Yes,
BK.
yes, brother. This brew has a lot of perspective to give. I'm gonna have you on another one, by the
All right,
way.
cool.
Yeah, so this will be the end. If you want to visit our website, it's on www.hopehealcenter.co.za. And please like and subscribe to our channel, guys. Subscribing is free, and if you can do that, we'll appreciate that. See you guys next time.
All right.
Bye.